It looks like we have an update on Ricky Starks' status in AEW directly from AEW president and founder Tony Khan, who discussed the matter on a recent edition of Shaq Wrestling from CBS. We're going to talk about what he had to say, take a look at it. We're also going to provide an update on Chad Gable's current status with WWE. What do we know so far? Has he re-signed? Has he signed an extension potentially for a few weeks? What's going on there? All that much more coming up right here in this video. So be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Let's dive right into it and talk about Ricky Starks, someone who AEW for a while has had massive plans for, but someone who has been curtailed largely because of inconsistent booking. Well, coming off of the heels of some controversy when Ricky Starks was asked on a recent podcast about his status with the company, whether or not he plans to be with AEW long term, he basically said, the only reason I'm not on television is because I don't have anything creatively. And I would like to be booked, but that is not the case. Well, Tony Khan kind of added to the confusion here when he said the following on an interview with Shaq Wrestling from CBS. Says, quote, "I think Ricky Starks is tremendous. I'd love to get him involved and back in AEW anytime. He's been a huge part of what we've done here for about 4 out of the 5 years and a tons of respect." That is, again, AEW president, founder Tony Khan on Ricky Starks' status with All Elite Wrestling. Okay, there's obviously some sort of confusion here. There has to be. Because what Ricky Starks is saying is, I am not on television because I'm not being booked. I would like to be on television. The last time we saw him, I believe, was in that tag team tournament match where they lost the top flight. They being Big Bill and Ricky Starks lost the top flight. And that was a bit of a fiasco because Ricky may have gotten hurt. There was some protocol taken there. But we haven't seen them on TV. Big Bill obviously has moved on to become the big redwood in the learning tree. And Ricky Starks has just been gone from television. He is cleared from what we can tell. The interesting thing about Tony Khan's comments, if we go back and look at him, is like, I would like to have him back anytime. It's almost like he said that while completely ignoring the fact that he is the booker. I think everyone had the same reaction to this. It was like, Tony, you're the booker. How would it make sense for you to be like, if it were up to me, you would be there anytime. Unless, and again, we'll get into maybe this part in a little bit later in this video, unless there's something else going on, these comments from Tony Khan just don't make him look good. It makes you look like you are not the one booking your company when it's clear through all of the reporting and evidence that we have, it is you. Tony is the final guy, the final boss of AEW. It's Tony Khan. And when you say things like that, and, again, if Ricky has not been presented with creative and all of that is true, then it just makes you look incompetent. And I understand maybe what he was going for here. Tony Khan is someone who is known to go the more diplomatic route when it comes to answering certain questions that may arise controversy. He did it for years and will probably continue to do it for years with the whole CM Punk Elite fiasco. I believe that this may have been his way of being like, hey, Ricky's a great guy. Love to have him back. Love to do something with him. Let's make it happen. That was his way of not giving any real insight into what the situation is. I could totally see that. But at the same time, it does raise questions. Because either Ricky Starks is lying or Tony Khan is trying to hide something. There really is no middle ground here. There has to be some sort of miscommunication going on behind the scenes otherwise. And if that is the case, it kind of speaks to some of the problems that we have heard in AEW over the last number of months of, backstage chaos. People want to say it's to the degree of WWE in 2019. That is probably overstated in my view. Again, I'm not there. I can't say for a fact, but from the outside looking in, it seems to be a little bit overstated because it definitely does not seem like you have as many last minute rewrites and just dog poop booking decisions as WWE did in 2019. Regardless, the other thing to take into account here could be, and again, this is speculation at this point, that perhaps Ricky's contract is running out, and perhaps that they just don't have anything for him right now, and they don't see the long-term vision, and they feel like he's going to WWE. And I've said this before. I said it in a video on youtube.com/WrestleVibes. I think Ricky Starks in WWE would make a lot of sense. He could be a massive star there. And that's not saying that he couldn't have been in AEW. I believe that Ricky Starks in 2022, right after MJF won the AEW World Championship, when he cut that promo on Max, everything that was building up the Ricky Starks character at that moment, it just clicked in such a way where people were genuinely like, man, like, they could put the belt on Ricky, because it just felt like he was about to make that giant leap. And we know Ricky can hang in the ring with anyone. That's matter of fact at this point. He's done it with the best. We know that on the mic he can hang with the best of them. He's done it with the best again. But the thing that has plagued him in AEW, and the reason why I think he probably needs a change of scenery, is because he just has not been booked consistently. AEW has done this start and stop booking with him that has unfortunately plagued a lot of his time with the company. And again, why I would not be surprised if when his contract is up, which we don't know just yet when his contract is up, but I could see him going to WWE. And I think he could be a massive star there, like I said before. But we will see, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section as we move on to our next topic of the day, that being, what the hell is going on with Mr. Chad Gable? Let's talk about Chad here. So Chad Gable was on Raw last night, and the big speculation with Chad Gable was that his contract was running out. The reports came out that his contract would indeed run out this Friday, and he came out on Raw. People were kind of surprised with what we got, because many people may have thought, well, maybe they break up the Alpha Academy and they do something else with Chad Gable and like he's written off TV. But instead, he has now been put into a match with Sami Zayn for Clash at the Castle at the end of the month. And we are going to get Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship. Interesting note here is, again, reportedly, Gable's contract runs out on Friday. So what the hell does all of this mean? Well, it could mean one of two things. Number one, and the most simple one, that Chad Gable re-signed with the company. That whatever happened, like his contract definitely was supposed to run out at the end of this week, right? That's kind of been confirmed at this point. But at the same time, negotiations are always ongoing. WWE has been known to be very late in the game when it comes to these contract negotiations, and they came to a deal. Could very well see that as happening. The flip side, and people may wonder this, right, is it possible that Gable, his contract is still running out on Friday, they book him in this match, and they sign a short-term extension to keep him around for the next little while? And I said this this past week on the Kiss the Ring show. We have precedent for something like this. If you guys go back and remember back in 2021, Adam Cole, his contract was up in, I believe, July. And he still had a feud to finish up with not Roderick Strong, but Kyle O'Reilly. And he ended up finishing up that feud. And he signed a short-term deal, like a month-long extension, to finish up that feud and leave. I think it is possible that we could see the same here. And I think the other criticism that many have of that point of, hey, man, Chad Gable ain't going nowhere, is, well, they wouldn't book him so strong on his way out. But look back at like the last few times this has happened, where high-profile people have had their contracts come up and expire. Becky Lynch was the world champion on her final week of her contract, was the world champion on Raw, lost the belt in a world championship match, was put over strong in the weeks leading up to her contract expiring and her going on leave. Go back, look at Edge, someone who actually left WWE for AEW in the end. He was put over strong as hell in his hometown of Toronto against Sheamus. And they built it up for weeks. They had this man out here cutting promos, and he was positioned as a massive star. And same deal with Adam Cole in NXT. That was a high-profile feud that they had that Adam Cole looked very strong in leading up to the culmination. So until we hear word of Gable officially re-signing, my inclination and my head tells me that we should keep an eye on this situation, because it is not out of the realm of possibility for this to just be a case where he signed a short-term extension to finish up this feud and then would take other offers, is what I will say. But we will see. I still think the higher likelihood is that he ends up, whenever he does sign, staying with WWE. We'll see what happens. I know a lot of people would like to see him in AEW. Personally, from a selfish standpoint, I would love to see some of the matchups that Gable could have in AEW. I think there's just way more room for him to showcase his pure athletic wrestling ability. But I guess we'll see. Let me know in the comments section, though, because I want to hear from you. What do you guys think is up with Chad Gable? Is he re-signed? Is he going away after Clash at the Castle? Let me know in the comment section. Also, be sure, if you haven't already done so, to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.